After the Strait of Hormuz standoff, is Iran now preparing for a new face-off with Donald Trump at another critical sea route? Has Trump's Hormuz strategy failed to deliver results? And could Iran now coordinate with the Houthis for a broader maritime confrontation? Iran's top military leadership has issued a strong warning, suggesting that multiple global trade routes could be disrupted in response. And amid the ongoing blockade, has Trump dropped a major hint by claiming that the war could come to an end soon? As tensions rise around the Strait of Hormuz, Iran has issued a warning indicating the possibility of further escalation at sea. Iranian officials have suggested that trade routes in the Red Sea could also be affected if the US naval blockade in Hormuz continues. Senior military leaders in Iran stated that maritime movement involving exports and imports may be restricted under such conditions. In addition to Hormuz, Iran has also referenced other strategic waterways such as the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman in its warnings. These statements were reportedly conveyed by the commander of Iran's Khatam al-Anbiya headquarters. Ali Abdullahi stated that Iran's armed forces would act to prevent trade flows if national interests are threatened. Analysts note that any disruption in the Red Sea could involve allied groups in Yemen, including the Houthis, expanding the scope of the conflict. Iran has also indicated that the ongoing blockade could undermine the fragile ceasefire currently in place with the United States. Officials further stated that Iran would take all necessary measures to safeguard its maritime sovereignty. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian has also criticized the US blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. He stated that Iran cannot be compelled to alter its position through external pressure, according to Press TV. Pezeshkian also criticized Western responses, describing them as inconsistent in addressing the conflict. He further stated that the ongoing military actions have affected not only leadership structures but also civilian populations. Iran's president said, and I quote, "Iran is not seeking war and instability. Instead, it has always emphasized the importance of dialogue and constructive interaction with all countries of the world. However, any attempt to impose any will on the country or force it to surrender is doomed to fail, and the Iranian nation will never cave into such an approach. What justified military aggression on our country? What justification exists within international law and humanitarian principles for targeting civilians, elites, children, and destroying vital centers such as schools and hospitals?" End quote. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has indicated a possible shift in the trajectory of the conflict with Iran. In an interview with Fox News, he stated that the situation could move toward resolution in the near term.
Mr. President, thank you for sitting down with us. We appreciate it. You've had a real reaction to the blockade. Are you happy with the reaction since you put this blockade in place in the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, it's been pretty amazing, actually. I thought that was going to happen. They reacted to this even, I think, we've obliterated them. And this almost seems to be more of a reaction than we had before. So we'll see. I mean, look, it only matters the end result. And we're doing very well.
How does that change the dynamic of this meeting with President Xi?
I don't think it does. I mean, he's somebody that needs oil. We don't. He's somebody I get along with very well. He just wrote me a beautiful letter.
He wrote you a letter?
Yeah, he did. He responded to a letter that I wrote because I had heard that China is giving weapons to, you're seeing it all over the place, to Iran, that China's
Did he
giving
say
weapons.
He's giving them?
Yeah, and I wrote him a letter asking him not to do that. And he wrote me a letter saying that essentially he's not doing that.
All right.
And you know what? I'm very happy. And it's going to come dropping down very big as soon as it's over. And I think it can be over very soon.
So
if they're smart, it will end soon. This whole thing is really about no nuclear. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. And if they're going to have a nuclear weapon, we'll be living with them for a little while, but I don't know how much longer they can survive. I don't know how much longer they can go because they've been hit very hard. And as an example, we could take out every one of their bridges in 1 hour. We could take out every one of their power plants, electric power plants, in 1 hour. We don't want to do that.
These remarks were made shortly after he suggested that negotiations with Iran could resume within the coming days. After imposing a naval blockade in the Strait of Hormuz, Donald Trump has signaled a possible shift toward renewed diplomatic engagement. The US president indicated that he is considering a second round of negotiations with Iran, according to recent reports. In an interview with the New York Post, Trump stated that discussions with Iran could resume within the next 2 days. He also suggested that the proposed talks may once again take place in Islamabad, based on current indications. However, Trump's remarks appear to differ from earlier statements made in the same interview cycle. Previous reports had indicated that he described the pace of talks with Iran as slow and uncertain. He had also earlier suggested that a second round of negotiations might not be held in Pakistan. According to the New York Post, Trump had even indicated that European countries could host the next phase of discussions. This renewed diplomatic signal comes even as the US continues to enforce its naval blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. Reports suggest that the blockade, initiated on April 13th, has not yet produced a decisive impact on maritime activity. This is despite the deployment of more than 10,000 US personnel, along with multiple warships and aircraft. US Central Command stated that no vessels successfully transited the strait during the first day of enforcement. CENTCOM said, and I quote, "More than 10,000 US sailors, Marines, and airmen along with over a dozen warships and dozens of aircraft are executing the mission to blockade ships entering and departing Iranian ports." During the first 24 hours, no ships made it past the US blockade, and 6 merchant vessels complied with direction from US forces to turn around to re-enter an Iranian port on the Gulf of Oman. The blockade is being enforced impartially against vessels of all nations entering or departing Iranian ports and coastal areas, including all Iranian ports on the Arabian Gulf and Gulf of Oman. US forces are supporting freedom of navigation.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.